I'm doing the morning update on the Gaza Israel war. During the night, we had light rockets from Gaza. I'm guessing maybe a dozen or so during the night, not much. Israel has surrounded Gaza with armor, and we're using aircraft, helicopters, drones, everything. And we have stopped the leakage of terrorists through the Gaza fences into Israel for a day now. There's still a small amount of Hamas terrorists running loose in Israel, but there's thousands of police and soldiers rounding them up slowly but surely, and many are taken alive and they're being interrogated, and we're learning a whole lot more about what happened. We have terminated the flow of water, electricity, fuel, and food, and everything else into Gaza. Nothing goes in, nothing goes out. This has got to be wearing down Hamas. It's also going to mess their communications up because they're not going to be able to recharge their portable communication devices and other electronic devices that they have. They do have some generators with some fuel supply, and that will enable them to continue ad hoc for a while, but there's serious radio stations and other things they have are going to be run out of battery power. They probably already are beginning to now. That some of these devices, I'm sure they'll keep charging on generators, and some of them they might be able to charge with car chargers, but those would be non-secure communication devices which we would eavesdrop on, so that doesn't help them very much. The Hamas will undoubtedly have probably already stolen all the bottled water supplies in Gaza, leaving the people to suffer without bottled water. And the same with the food. So they'll, I'm sure they did this because that's how they are. They're brutal. They're not there to protect the people of Gaza. They have a different agenda. We have not yet invaded Gaza, but it's 99.9% that we will. And this is going to be brutal because it will involve fighting door to door, house to house, rooftops, snipers, etc. Gaza, the streets are full of debris from the destroyed buildings, so it's going to be a little difficult to move around with vehicles. The more advanced, serious armor vehicles like tanks and other things will have no trouble, but the regular, like Humvees and things like that are going to be difficult. So a lot of it is going to be working on foot. It's going to be a brutal fight. It's not going to be simple. Hamas has said that they will be executing the hostages publicly on social media, probably decapitating them with dull knives or whatever. And Israel has really came to the conclusion that it might very well be impossible to save the hostages. I don't know. Israel's pretty resourceful, but they probably have the hostages in 3 to 10 different locations, and they probably have a few guys in rooms with them that could be unknown locations, and they could be moving them every few hours, and they will machine gun them if they feel that they're going to be overrun and the hostages will be taken alive. Hostages are from many other countries, UK, America, Canada, Germany, France, Russia even, China even, Taiwan even. And these countries are going to become completely mad and angry at Hamas when they see pictures of their citizens being brutally murdered. on public, social media. And that's not going to go well. Hold on a second. Beulah, move now. Beulah, move. Dog problem. I'm outside. I'm sitting outside. It's peaceful. We have constant jets overhead protecting us. When you have Arab planes overhead, they don't sound the same way as Israeli planes over our skies do. The Arab planes sound more like this, with black smoke. The situation is Gaza's pretty much finished. Probably by the end of today, we're not even going to have any sporadic, random missile or rocket fire. They have portable Katyusha rocket launchers. They can move around from place to place, and that's what they're down to. There's been no substantial barrages. Once they shoot missiles, our planes get the GPS on the launch area, and they bomb it. We're telling the Gaza people that the crossing into Egypt is open and they should go to Egypt for protection. And Egypt is not tickled pink over this because they don't know what they're going to do with these people. And it's highly likely there's going to be not much of Gaza to return to. I'm thinking what else I could tell you about Gaza, then we'll move on to Hezbollah. That's pretty much the situation in Gaza. The homeland people in Israel came out with a release telling people what to store in their bomb shelters for 3 days. And Israelis ran out to the stores and started buying stuff like crazy. Then the Homeland Front people came out and said, no, wait a minute. This wasn't a specific announcement for Gaza or Hezbollah. This was just a general announcement that this is what we recommend all the time, for many years in the past, So it was a false alarm, and they sort of apologized in a way for that. So commerce is going on here in Israel. Buses and trucks and cars are moving. Israeli reserve soldiers are continuing to fly into Israel. Getting a flight into Israel, my wife was traveling when it started, and she's trying to get back to Israel, but it is extremely expensive. It would probably cost about $2,500 to get back. So right now, she can't get back. I mean, we don't have that kind of money. Okay, other things. Switching to Hezbollah. The Hezbollah situation is in my mind, it's slightly puzzling because they have not attacked Israel to try to stop Israel from decimating Gaza. There's a school of thought that's sort of valid, but at this point in time, not very valid, that they're waiting for Israel to do the invasion into Gaza, and then they might think that Israel is stretched too thin and attack Israel. Now we have, I would guess, no figures have been released, at least 100,000 soldiers up by Lebanon with armor. We've recalled 400,000 reservists. It's the biggest recall Israel ever did. So I would guess it could be even 150, 200,000 up by Lebanon, and they're still pouring in. And we have the place loaded with tanks, mobile artillery, armored personnel carrier. There's drones up there. Hold on. Beulah, move! Move now! Armored personnel carriers with surveillance and constantly with drones. We've got Apache helicopter gunships in the area. We have jets. Hezbollah has no navy and no air force and no ground to air defenses to speak of. They have a few Cold War era tanks, not very many. They don't have much of anything. Okay. Now they're telling us that they have 250,000 missiles and rockets. Now I'm beginning to think that this is not real. Muslim nations often claim they have great weapons that they really don't have. Okay. Iran did try a convoy yesterday by going from Iran to Iraq into Syria, and the news report said unidentified aircraft bombed the convoy and basically decimated it, blew it up. So is Iran stupid enough to try that again and again? 100% they're that stupid. Yeah, they are. They are. You have to understand these crazy jihadist terrorist fanatics are psychotic. They don't behave normally. Okay. They're nutbags. All right. So yeah, Iran's dumb enough to try it. They've kept trying to transport missiles by air into Syria for what, a year and a half, 2 years, and we keep blowing it up in Syria. The UAE warned Syria to stay out of the fight and not allow Iran to traverse through their territory to hit Israel. Now, Iraq doesn't border Israel, so getting into Iraq isn't a serious threat for Israel. They go from Iran to Iraq to Syria. Israel said they would destroy Bashar Assad's house. You know, they would decimate Damascus, which is the scripture, Damascus shall be a ruin of heap. So Bashar Assad moved to what's called a secret house location now, you know, where he's sheltering down. Well, I would dollars to donuts bet that Israel has the exact GPS coordinates of that house. Without a doubt. I'm thinking. So Hezbollah has not really started. There's been some skirmishes across the border, you know, mortar fire, bullets, stuff like that. No invasion, no big missile launches from Hezbollah. Now, you have to bear in mind that Israel does not talk about its military assets. And people think Israel does not have surface-to-surface missiles. Well, that would be a grievous error. They just don't use them against their neighbors in recent years because they don't have to. Okay. We have 50 F-35 jets that have been modified by Israel. And nobody really knows what they can do. But I think the world's about to find out. Israel has brought aircraft, America has brought aircraft into Israel. F-15, F-16, F-35, and A-10s. We do not know how many. America has also been transporting on cargo planes military equipment into Israel constantly, and we do not get told exactly what's in that either. And why should they announce it? I don't think they should. It's stupid. Why they should keep it quiet. There is one B-52 bomber here in Israel, and they can drop 84 500-pound bombs from that one aircraft in a few seconds. Now that would make it feel like a 9 on the Richter scale earthquake. Now that would have the effect of changing a lot of hearts and minds pretty quickly. Do they intend to do that to Hezbollah? Yeah, I guess. I would think, yeah, that's on the table. But what I think it's really about is Iran. Iran has been a thorn in the side of NATO, which includes America. They've been supplying weapons to Russia, drones, missiles, ammunition, other things, steadily. And this enables Russia to continue the fight in Ukraine. As the fight in Ukraine continues, the NATO countries have to keep giving weapons and munitions in the many billions of dollars to Ukraine to keep them going. They're trying to bust Russia out. and get this to stop. Russia is using Ukraine to keep going. Without these Ukrainian drones and missiles and ammunition, Russia will be, as they say, up the creek without a paddle. Iran is continuing the Ukraine war in this way. Israel did some strikes in Iran maybe 6, 9, 10 months ago and blew up some missile factories, but they just rebuild and keep going. So it was just a bump in the road for the supply to Russia. Iran has also been pirating ships in the Persian Gulf and confiscating cargo and taking crews captive and releasing all of this nonsense, right? And this is another problem, because if there's a big war with NATO and Russia and Iran have a mutual defense treaty. Shut up now. Have a mutual defense treaty. And Iran will probably attempt to shut down the Persian Gulf. Iran is a threat to the UAE. And I just heard thunder. I thought it was bombs. It's thunder. And it's a threat to Saudi Arabia. They've attacked the biggest Saudi Arabia oil refinery twice and disabled it temporarily. So Saudi Arabia is afraid of Iran. And that's probably why UAE and Saudi Arabia are in BRICS, which is a threat to the US dollar. BRICS, BRICS. So they're trading oil not for US dollars, which reduces the demand for US dollars, which is not making America happy, quite the contrary. Now, this attack on Israel was designed to make Israel look like what we made Gaza look like, decimate the place. Hezbollah and Hamas have been receiving money from Iran to support their crazy activities. The legitimate government of Lebanon, one of their mucky mucks, publicly in the last 2 days said, "Shut up now," said that they cannot stop Hezbollah. They're not happy with Hezbollah at all, but they can't stop it. They need help. So who do you think is going to come help them but the United States? Which brings us to the largest aircraft carrier America has, with 6 escort vessels that are destroyers and missile cruisers chugging over to Israel. By my estimation, they'll arrive in Israel Wednesday night or the wee hours of Thursday in the morning. Biden has threatened Hezbollah, and they said that our ships will soon be in missile range of Hezbollah, and now they're in missile range. And these 6 escort vessels collectively have approximately 700 Tomahawk missiles that have 500-pound warheads. They're smart missiles, they're highly accurate, and Hezbollah has no way in the world to stop these missiles. Hold on a second. Beulah, come over here. Beulah, now. Come, now. And shut up. Get over here. Sorry. Come over here. Come here. No, here. Now sit. You're being very bad. Sit. I'll stop the barking. So, these 6 vessels, I think it's the Gerald Ford. Shut up. The Gerald Ford aircraft carrier is the largest America has, and it could hold 90 planes, but it's probably going to travel with about 70. a lot of F-35s, F-15s, all the whole gamut. Refueling tankers, AWACS, everything. That is got Hezbollah rethinking what happened because a monkey wrench went into their plans. So Hezbollah has been hesitant to barrage Israel civilian populations in its Tel Aviv, Haifa, Jerusalem, and so forth with their missiles. Now, you got to understand, with an army of Israel, it's a legitimate army over there on the border. If Hezbollah has some choices to make, if they start shooting missiles and rockets to Tel Aviv, Israel army is going to, we're right directly on their border, okay? We'll push right into Lebanon immediately with mobile artillery and tanks and air support from Apache gunships and F-35s, F-16s, everything. And there'll be artillery firing, and there'll be surface-to-surface rockets and missiles trying to knock Hezbollah into the dark ages, which we will do. Our Minister of Defense recently told us that in one afternoon, he can put Hezbollah in the dark ages. He can put Lebanon in the dark ages. The government of Lebanon doesn't want this, and they asked for help. They said, we can't do it ourselves. We need help. And I think America is sending them that help in the form of that aircraft carrier group. In addition, you should understand that it would be normal with a group like this, the biggest aircraft carrier America has, with 6 escort vessels, to send, I would say, at least 2, if not 3, submarines along with this group, hidden under the surface, of course, to protect the group. Israel also has a Navy that will help protect the group. I expect that they're not going to dock up at Haifa because they would be subject to Hezbollah rockets and missiles. I think they'll stay perhaps 25 miles offshore, which is nothing to them. That's fine. They don't have a problem with that. And that will keep them out of the reach of most of the weapons that Hezbollah has, preventing a swarm attack where Hezbollah sends hundreds of missiles at them at once and overwhelms their defenses, and then the missiles start hitting. They don't have that many missiles that'll travel that far. So that's probably never going to happen. So if Hezbollah starts shelling the civilians, they've done nothing. Sit. They've done nothing. Mommy, no. They've done nothing. No, sit. Sit. They've done nothing to prevent themselves from being decimated by the Israeli army, and it's a full army up there now. No, sit. Mommy, no. So somebody's walking by the fence, and the dogs are convinced that it's a Hamas terrorist. It'll stop in a second. Come on, Beulah, stop it. Sit down and stop it. So what does Hezbollah do? They attack the civilian population centers. They get the world mad at them. They get America mad at them. And they're probably going to get a lot of missiles and bombs from America. The aircraft carrier group could already be within airstrike range of Hezbollah in Lebanon. My calculations were about 18 hours ago, they were 960. I think they're probably now about 600-700 miles away from Hezbollah, which is pretty good strike range for the aircraft. But they don't probably want to send aircraft that far away from the carrier, so they're probably going to wait if they can. So this is... Why is Hezbollah not attacking? Well, Hezbollah can attack our troops on their border with their missiles, and then the troops are just going to invade. They're not going to retreat because then they're going to run into Israel like Gaza did and kill civilians and everything else. So the army's not going to stay where it is because it's going to get bombed with missiles, and they're not going to retreat. They're going to advance into Lebanon. So Hezbollah gets the privilege of getting some rockets off into our population centers, and that is going to result in them losing the war. See, they can't win against us. The only thing they could do is hit our population centers. They could hit our population centers and try to get us to back off that way. And judging by our actions in Gaza, they know that's not going to work. So Hezbollah is currently between a rock and a hard place, and we don't know what to do. And I believe that Israel is looking for an excuse for a preemptive attack. Not so much now, but when the American aircraft carrier group gets closer, which will be 24 hours, then they're going to really provoke it. Now, the B-52 bomber in Israel is most likely here, not only for Hezbollah, and it's also a warning to Iran. And it may not be a warning. It may be that they intend to attack Iran. And America has bunker buster bombs up to 5,000 pounds, which Israel cannot transport on their aircraft. So they will probably knock out the nuclear facilities of Iran with massive bunker buster bombs because they're heavily fortified. And they will most certain minimally knock out missile manufacturing, drone manufacturing, ammo manufacturing, and stockpiles that are being used to support Russia in Ukraine. Now, this is what I think the master plan is, okay? And I think America and NATO, when they saw what happened with Gaza and Hezbollah planning to get in with Iran behind it, they just said, this is insane already. Let's shut this down. I do expect these countries that are flying the Israeli flag electronically on their prominent government buildings at night. The Eiffel Tower every night is showing the Israeli flag, for instance, and it's many other countries. The ones that are in NATO are probably going to join in. The UK told Israel they would help, and I think they were using words like anything you need type help. So while we haven't seen other countries do much yet, I think they will get into the fracas here with America. I'm most certain they will. And in the eyes of NATO, which includes America, I believe the first idea is we have to secure Israel. We don't need their help to take care of Gaza. That's self-evident. Hezbollah and Gaza at the same time would be a real problem for Israel. And as Israel weakens from this combat, Syria, Iraq, Iran, Egypt, Turkey would be most likely to say, hey, this is our time. And they would send their forces into fight with Israel. Now, an easier way of doing this is to nip it in the bud, which is what they're trying to do. And Hezbollah doesn't know what to do now because the Hezbollah is 100,000 people. That's it. It's not that big. Hezbollah is looking at this and they're saying, wow, we really walked into this one. What the heck do we do? They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. So they're doing nothing. But we have a real problem in that if America and NATO is going to attack Iran, which I gave you many reasons why they want to, Iran's just getting out of hand. And then Iran would tell, Hezbollah will give you, $50 billion or something like that, go attack, And they don't want to see that happen because then, Egypt might say, gee, we'll attack too, and then Turkey. So they're trying to control it so they don't have a big war in the Middle East and they could put Iran to rest and they don't have to worry about Iran anymore. The attack on Iran at this point doesn't appear to be likely more than just bombing runs on probably 200 or so targets in Iran. That would be military and war manufacturing plants and stockpiles and storage. And they may blow up some oil refineries and facilities on the water where they load tanker ships, stuff like this. It could turn into an invasion like Iraq. That I don't know. So that's really the end game, and that's where all these roads are leading to, as I see it. So at this point, it's a little bit difficult to figure out. And I wonder why people keep walking by my fence when I do broadcasts. They don't walk by the fence all the time. I don't understand. I wonder if somebody's provoking the dogs on purpose. So anyway, sorry about the noise, but I should have put the dogs away before I came out here. I wasn't thinking. So this is the situation. So tensions are high. When Hamas executes the hostages and publicly displays their gruesome execution, the outcry amongst the nations is going to hit the roof. And Hezbollah knows that. And Hezbollah is getting scared. Right now, their actions are basically defensive. They hooked up with another terrorist organization and united, I don't know what they have, 10, 20,000 people, maybe not even, I don't know. And they're trying to fortify their own border out of fear of an Israeli invasion, and their game plan would probably be to defend against the invasion. Pula, move, now! Now, move! To defend against the invasion, and then their next response would be to try to stop the invasion by shooting missiles and rockets into people's houses all over Israel. So now you know more than a lot of people do, and we're watching and waiting, and we're seeing prophecy getting fulfilled, and all this is taking us to the Psalm 83 war, as they call it. It's actually a prophecy of a prophet named Asaph, and that matches up with Zechariah 12, which is Jacob's trouble. So this is Jeremiah 30 coming to pass. This is Zechariah 12, Jacob's trouble, which is in Jeremiah 30. That's what this is. It is not Gog and Magog. In the Gog and Magog battle, it says Israel is in Ezekiel 38. In Ezekiel 38, Israel is living at peace and rest without bars and walls, with cattle, gold, silver, with riches at peace. Now, if any teacher tells you that's the state of Israel today, you should never listen to that person again because they don't know anything. Okay? So it is not Gog and Magog. It is Zechariah 12, which precedes Gog and Magog by some years, I would say. And in Zechariah 12, verse 10, you see the Lord pouring his spirit out on the Israelites in Jerusalem and the house of David. And then you read, they shall look upon the one whom they have pierced and mourn him like an only or firstborn. Now this is obviously them seeing Yeshua, which is Matthew 24. He appears in the clouds. This is not the second coming. He's not coming with the armies of heaven. He's not coming on a horse with the double-edged sword and wearing white robes with the blood on him. That's not it. This is not the second coming. Okay? This is seeing the Son of Man. And when you read this in Malachi 4, it says, the Son of Righteousness shall arise with healing in his wings. The wings is an incorrect translation. It's kanaf. It means extremities. That's where the tzitzit and the tassels were placed on the outer garment. And that's what the woman with the issue of blood grabbed onto with Yeshua when she got healed, the issue of blood for 12 years. Okay, so this is to let us know who it is, the Son of Righteousness. It's Yeshua HaMashiach. So that's what this is. And then it says that we shall jump out of the stall like calves. Somebody's walking by my fence to provoke the dogs on purpose, I believe. So that's what this is. And I know that most of the teachers never teach you this, and they're all high on Gog and Magog and the Great Tribulation. It's not any of that. This stuff has to happen before, okay? And you see the two witnesses in Zechariah 12, burning them up on the right hand and the left. Fire coming out from them. That's Revelation 11. The two witnesses, the two prophets with the fire coming out of their mouth. That's what it is. Move, Beulah, now. Move. 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 Hold on. Didn't I tell you to move? Why don't you move? Move. Sorry. That's what it is. So there you have it. I'll do an afternoon update, and I'll do an evening update, and probably intermittently during the day do updates as the war develops. It's very possible that we go into invade Gaza during the day today. It's highly possible. Israel does not want to see the residents of Gaza drop dead in the streets from starvation and dehydration. They're not interested in that, okay? They're interested in setting an example to the other countries about what's going to happen if they mess with Israel. That's what they're doing. Israel has taken the gloves off, and they're not using any restraint, okay? And remember, last night, they went to sleep in Gaza with no electricity, no lights. And the only light they had was the numerous bombs dropping from our planes all night long. This wears the population down, and Hamas is going to be, I am sure they're very unpopular with Gaza right now. Now, when they attacked Israel and they massacred our people, they were killing children in front of their parents and their siblings and things like this in houses. The residents of Gaza were running around in the street handing out sweets. You know how sweet it is. Well, I tell you the truth. There's nobody for the last 2 days handing out sweets in Gaza. And they were doing it in the West Bank, too. They were doing it in Hebron, Nablus, and I don't know where else. But we invaded Nablus, you might say, which is in Israel in the West Bank, Samaria and Judea. And we're routing the terrorists out of there at the same time because they are Hamas and Hezbollah or affiliated thereof. So we're getting, or Palestinian Islamic Jihad. So we're getting rid of them too. Our armies are in there, in force, hundreds and hundreds of soldiers with armor and everything else, with air support, drones, everything. And we're getting rid of them too. So there has been no uprisings to speak of in Israel from the Arab population. The 1.6 million Arab citizens in Israel love living here. They have a great standard of living. They have freedom. They're not under Sharia law. And they have not expressed in their actions any intention to get rid of Israel and go back to living as paupers under Sharia law. Look at the Sharia law countries, Saudi Arabia. The elite live good. The rest of them live like paupers. UAE, maybe a little better than Saudi Arabia, but not much. The Jordan, they treat their people a lot better than the others do, as does Turkey. Egypt, people are basically paupers. Oman, pretty easygoing people there. Kuwait, easygoing on the people, Iran, the people live very badly. So, all right. I think I've given you a good picture. So what's coming is an attack on Iran. Before the attack on Iran, they've got to make sure that the neighbors of Israel don't rise up and attack Israel. That's the game plan, okay? Of course, if Israel goes, it's going to change the face of the Middle East, and it's going to drive these terrorist-type countries into lunacy land. They're going to have all kinds of delusions of grandeur, and it's going to be worse and worse and worse. China is probably not going to do a darn thing. While they have a mutual defense treaty with Iran, I doubt they'll do a thing. I expect nothing. The worst thing, or the biggest thing China may do, is send weapons to Iran, and I don't even think they'll do that. I don't know how the weapons will get in when the fracas starts. So I seriously doubt China's going to be a player here. They got too many problems in the Pacific. They can't open up another front. They're not going to do it. If Russia's dumb enough to open up another front in Iran to help Iran, which is a losing battle, it's going to be something that America and NATO are going to be quite pleased with, because they really don't care about a front opening up in Iran if it's going to take Russia off the map. And that'll stretch Russia so thin. I don't think Russia could afford to defend their own country, which they're desperately afraid of being attacked by NATO, and continue to fight in Ukraine and other areas they're involved in. I don't see this at all, especially with the flow of Iranian weapons being cut off. So Russia will scream and yell, but nothing. The UN's going to do nothing. They try to go, the Security Council tries to take action against Israel. America will veto it with permanent veto power. The UK will veto it, So, and if they try to take action against Hezbollah or Gaza or any of these other crazies, the Russians and Chinese will veto it. So you could assume that the UN in this matter is completely worthless and will do nothing. NATO, on the other hand, is not, if America gets attacked, their aircraft and their naval fleet in the Middle East, they're probably going to knock on the door of the NATO countries and say, come help. And the NATO countries, by all indications, are going to help them to some extent. It's not an attack on American soil, but the UK is definitely going to go in. France is saying, we'll give you equipment, we'll help you, we'll back you up. France is in, the UK is in, Germany is in. I'm not sure which of the other countries are, but when you take NATO, when you look at America, the UK, France, and Germany, that's the lion's share of the NATO military might. That's the mass of it. So Hezbollah right now doesn't know what the heck to do. They don't know if Israel's going to invade them. They don't know if Israel's going to bomb them. And they can, according to them, I don't know how true it is, attack our big cities, which may not be true. And is it a price they want to pay because they're not going to be in existence but for a few hours or maybe a handful of days after they do that? So that's where we're at, okay? If those of you feel led, offering information is in the description box of the video if you'd like to support my work. And I'll keep you apprised. Make sure you subscribe, because I'll be, and click the notifications bell so you know they'll send you a notice when I'm live. And I probably will go live 4, 5, 6 times today and tonight. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to get the updates quickly. And join my Telegram group, because I update that about 30 times a day. And it has videos and pictures. And I'm updating it constantly during the war. Okay, it's free. The app is free. It's called Telegram Messenger. That's the app. You can send me an email. My email address is on the bottom line of the description box under the video. And it's Israel Giving with the number 7 at Gmail. Israel Giving is one word. It's spelled AEL. Israel Giving with the number 7 at Gmail. Just send me an email and just put Telegram in the subject header, and I'll send you. I have several Telegram sites. I'll send you the one with the news for Israel, the Bible prophecy news. And it's all free. And you just click on the link when you have the Telegram Messenger and you're in. You might be able to access it without the Telegram Messenger. It depends on your operating system, where you are, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Okay? So there you have it. And I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. And I am out.